Greetings, Poe fans. Welcome to another edition of Poe Unplugged. I am Carmen Bolden.
And I am Jeanie Smith, and we are
The Potastic Two.
Come zoom with us into the Unbook Club dedicated to the works of Mr. Edgar Allan
Recording in
Poe.
progress.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Poe Unplugged. And we are going to discuss Poe's short story, Morella.
Morella.
And as I reread this afternoon, I remembered how much I have always liked this story. And so,
Me too.
who would like to start?
Not it.
Da-da-da.
Well, I feel like I know I talk way too much, but I absolutely love the story. So it's been a while since I read it, and it's still so good. Like it's so intriguing. It's like, what is she? I kind of always viewed Morella as like a witch, like it's witchcraft to me. He uses the terminology spell at one point. That's maybe just me kind of like, I don't know, I just love witches. So to me, I kind of see her as this interesting character where like he was saying and being like he was fated to be in love with her, but he never really like loved her. It was like one of those things where you like you're someone's in your life and you can't live without them, but you don't necessarily love them. It's like this attachment, where he what's the word? Like he just needed to have her in her life. And that the little bit of
Yes.
interest he had in her turns into this like soul sucking hate. And I love at the end, she's like the whole time is like she's almost researching like reincarnation. And I feel like she almost like curses him at the end because she knew he never really loved her when he does. And you might also love real quick, so you guys know, right? He Poe's a poet. This story to me, and even when he brings in the cypress at the end, has such a poetic vibe to it.
Yeah.
Out of all the stories, so it's total poetic vibe. Love it. It kind of reminds me of like Silence, the Fable story, where it has like a prose poetry. Absolutely love it. So I'll just say that for now and let somebody else go.
So I'm sorry. Is a loveless marriage an unusual thing?
Yeah. Right? He got roped into it. He got roped into it somehow.
Oh.
Back in those days, it wasn't. I mean, it was
Okay.
standard.
I was going to say, this doesn't strike me as unusual at all.
Exactly.
I agree with Jeanie with the back then that, a lot of marriages were even still arranged then. So I wrote down some things that just I pulled out as I was reading. She shunned society, and there's a reason why I'm going in this direction because this is always something I've heard could be a possibility that Poe was going with, but I don't know. But yeah, so she shunned society. That's hard to say very fast. She was into the mystical writings. She was very intelligent. She, dabbled in these forbidden pages. Her cold hand upon his, uh, and then just her identity, which at death is or is not lost forever. And then let's see that, he was oppressed as a spell was over her. And then she pretty much dies at this point, but she says, I am dying, yet shall I live. And so, one of the theories that I had always heard about the story of Morella was I'm posing the question, is Morella a vampire? Because Holly, the witch part, I totally
Okay, so
get.
Carmen, I love that I went witch and you went vampire with this. I absolutely love it.
I know. But I thought witch as well. But just the cold hand and again, I've always heard this
and
as
being buried in the tomb at the end, where he
right.
goes into her tomb and her coffin and she's missing.
Yes.
That actually, honestly, I don't know. You know what? The more I think, you're probably you have more proof for yours than mine.
Well, I was specifically as I read it because I'm sure most of us have read this before. I was kind of reading for purpose, picking out those details, and so because I went back and reread parts of it after I did all this, And so I'm posing the question, I don't know if anybody has ever heard that theory before, but could she be a vampire? Or is it just the husband is so much in grief over her death that he's, kind of transposing his, thoughts onto the daughter of Morella?
I think the
Well,
only time
I
I've
I
ever heard.
think
Oh,
she's. Oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead, Cheryl.
Oh, I think that she's got to be some kind of a supernatural being if she can give birth to herself. I
Yeah,
mean, that because I thought of the same thing. I thought, is this woman human? What is she? But she gave birth to
exactly.
herself
Well,
Yeah,
at
well,
death. She gave birth to herself so she could live on.
yeah.
yeah.
So she's witch or a vampire. She's something. I don't know which, but she's something.
Because we really didn't know she was with child until she was
Mm-mm.
dying. He never, again, he
Right.
is a very unreliable narrator.
Unreliable narrator. I
Hmm.
think in one passage he says, forget the exact wording, unless I'm much mistaken, or unless, there is the possibility, based on the very ending of it, that Morella never existed at all.
True. That's true.
Um, because the idea of her body completely disappearing after
Mm-hmm.
she somehow translated herself into the child. Uh, I had a couple of notes here that um, maybe a little bit of interest here, talking about Steve, you talked about the loveless marriage and that sort of thing. I was curious about. I believe that a lot of the tales of terror by Poe, where it was him sort of processing stuff that he was going through himself,
Yeah.
and that's a wide opinion out there, And 1835 is the publication date of Morella. He had recently gotten on board with the Southern Literary Messenger, unless I've got the
Hmm.
name of that wrong. Okay. And 1835 is the same year he got the marriage license to marry Virginia, his
Mm-hmm.
13-year-old cousin, which could possibly very well be a marriage of convenience, a loveless marriage. I
Yeah.
don't know the timing of when that happened and the publication of Morella, but the two happening at the same time. And then it's 1838 that he publishes Ligeia,
Hmm.
which is another way of looking at this person moving their
Hmm.
soul from one person to the other.
Yeah.
And one other thing, while I've got the mic, is there's this small film by Christopher Nolan. You've heard maybe there's been a little bit
Yes.
of it's small art house film, out there. But it got me curious about the Odyssey again, and I pulled out my hardcover, translated by Samuel Butler, published around the turn of the last century.
Mm-hmm.
And I was curious about the translators, see what his approach was, because the approach of the translators is a big deal. And Samuel Butler, apparently, his main thing was he was into philosophy mainly. He wrote a lot of stuff, a lot of satire, a lot of criticism,
Mm-hmm.
and he had really deep thoughts on hereditary stuff and evolution. And he felt, and I have a little quote here from him about well, this is from Wikipedia, his page. Butler argued that each organism was not, in fact, distinct from its parents. Instead, he asserted that each being was merely an extension of its parents at a later stage of evolution. Birth, he once quipped, has been made too much of. And that was just a few days before I read Morella for this, and I was like, and his further thoughts on it was that a parent is really trying to make a new one of itself. And the parent is trying to pass on its values and everything to the children, basically trying to make itself again. And the child evolves a little bit further than the parent does, and so on and so forth. And I thought that was very interesting because Morella obviously has passed on her consciousness to the child as the
Yeah.
story goes and through her intense study and her will of it. And I thought that was an interesting way to think about that because other people have thought about is a child really distinct from the parent? And what if you take it to the extreme, like we see in this story here?
That is a very interesting thought process on
It
that.
is.
Micah says, Doc, I'm married to a
but a
vampire.
child, but
Oh, go ahead. Cheryl, go ahead. And I can read this in a second.
I just want to say that, but a child is the product of two parents. But in Morella, I don't think the narrator ever seemed to find anything of himself. There was no indication there was anything of him in this daughter, quote
Yeah.
unquote daughter.
Well, that's
Mhm.
another point, because if he was already detesting her and wanted her to die, then why did they consummate? When he
Exactly.
was really just waiting for her to pine away and die months later, and suddenly she gives birth right there, and there's
Well,
nothing
I had a
about her to
question about
pregnant.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question about that because at the beginning of the story, it seemed like it was like a sexless marriage.
Mm-hmm.
There was some comment about that like, he was holding her up so high that that would not happen. And then at the end when she died, or near the end when she dies, he says, our daughter. So that left a big question mark. Well, what's the truth here?
Hmm.
Is that his daughter or not? I didn't know, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That was the strange part for me.
I think Gregory, you
Yeah.
make a really excellent point about was she even in his head, right? Because I love that because he was talking about how everything she did became his own. Her studies became his studies. Her thoughts became his thoughts. So
Hmm.
it really does allude to the fact that she may not really be there. They were his interests,
Mm-hmm.
his preoccupation. So yeah, that's that. I've never thought of it like that. I'll have to go back and reread that and
Explains the
look
empty
for more
tomb at
clues.
least, and a couple
Yeah.
other, like the birth, the Immaculate Conception immediately
And
after
not
she
only that, I
dies.
mean, yeah, so
Yeah.
either there's like one of two things happening. Either she's not really there or she's supernatural. Like, not only is this child exactly like her mother, but she's
Hmm.
growing at a rapid speed. Unless
Yeah.
this is a Twilight movie, like I mean, she's growing like she's like almost, you know what I mean? It's like he makes it seem like only like a couple days or weeks have passed and she's almost an adult.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So again, so it's either something
What,
really supernatural or
what's
she's
going on?
not there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that alludes kind of to the fact of the idea of the vampire situation,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's funny,
for
Carmen,
sure.
you had said, has anyone ever heard about this? I've heard about it from you. And then after you said it, I remembered you talking about it before. So I was like, yeah. I can't believe I forgot about that once we were reading it.
Well, and one other thing I'm going to throw out, and I don't remember Ligeia if the narrator in Ligeia says this or not, and I don't think they do. But like Berenice came before Morella, same year published, and I'm heavy into that story right now because of my third book I'm working on, and so I have the thing almost memorized. But the the narrator in that story says that he is taking laudanum. And so there's a lot of things that the monomania, he's obsessed with all these different things, and that's why he becomes obsessed with her teeth. And that's a whole nother story, and all that kind of stuff. But in this story, the narrator doesn't talk about doing any kind of laudanum or anything like that. It's just the the mysticism that he's or she's studying supposedly, and he's piggybacking on that with everything she's showing him. And so, yeah, you wonder, is she really there? Or, yeah, there's a whole lot of different theories on this story of who is she?
Yeah, and the hate he feels towards her. I mean, it sounds like he's wasting his life away, like self-loathing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's wasting away, and so is he. But
Mm-hmm.
I
So
think at some point, yeah,
are you alluding to the fact you think of the same person? Is that what I'm getting or not?
yeah, oh yeah, like there is only one person in the story, and that's our narrator.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Except
Let
for
me
the
I
know
mean,
when
There's
you
I,
definitely a
guys
I,
case. There's
know what
definitely a
well
case
that
for
is.
it, but
I kind of got that kind of feeling. I'm like, who's who here?
Mm-hmm. One other thing that I thought was very interesting too is at the beginning of the story, he says that he was thrown into her society by accident. So it's like, what is her society? Is it something supernatural? Is it they were different classes? I thought that was a very interesting point because he doesn't really go on to explain that or talk about anything of that nature later on. But that's at the
Yeah.
very beginning of the
Yeah,
story.
I picked up on that, and then it doesn't get embellished at all.
Mm-mm.
No. Other thoughts?
Well, are you guys ready for left field?
Of
Here we go.
course. Wait, I knew you were too quiet. You were
quiet.
too quiet.
I was just waiting. I'm just waiting, because
I was going to
gotta
say,
let
are we
everybody.
surprised? Are we
Yeah,
surprised?
exactly. Yeah. You should know. You should know what's coming. All right. So all of you guys are kind of hitting on certain things of my left field theories, if you want to call it whatever. Just my genieisms. We'll call them my genieisms. All right.
That's an
Um,
interesting way of putting it.
yeah, exactly. Because what Gary is talking about, or Gregory, not Gary, Gregory. To me, you G's are right next to each other. Stop that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we are.
Gregory brought up about the difference between mitosis and meiosis, about how the cloning basically of herself is what he was alluding to, is that it's just, parents want to clone themselves into their children, yada yada yada. But now here's where I really go off into left field, and you can just ride the train here, people. All right, so Morella. Hey, yeah, it's the crazy train. I heard that, Carmen. All right.
All aboard!
Morella is actually, and we've talked about this when we talked about Wednesday, Morella is another name for Nightshade, which is another name for Belladonna.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
going off on what Gregory opened the door for, and every other thing that we've talked about and everything, I don't think, well, here's what I think. Belladonna was used in those days for different things. It was a psychotropic, it was medicinal, it was for cosmetics, and it was for death.
Yeah.
It had so many different avenues to be used for. And I think that this is what this story is surrounding itself with. The whole thing is all about, rebirth, death, cosmetic. It is all about, growth and using something, like with a plant. Now, a plant is like the perfect pollination of redoing itself all over again. So Morella fits perfectly, dying and then rebirth.
I thought he was just on one great big trip, like that movie that Peter Fonda did back in the '60s called The Trip. Because I just finished watching it and I read this and I'm like, oh, this man's tripping.
Exactly. And I mean, belladonna would be perfect for that too. It could use to be a psychotropic. So, and I think the name of the story itself has something to do with the story. And that's what it was for me. Because yes, there were so many different things that he alluded to with supernatural, which also could be laid out to be psychotropic.
Yeah.
And the whole death scene because the belladonna could kill. So, and then where at the end, the rebirth, coming back. So replanting itself and regrowing. So that to me is what the major thing with this story I take away from is the name for the first thing tells part of the story, in my opinion. So I told you it was out of left field, people. There you go.
But
Well,
Yeah,
that's
that's good.
that's a really good point, Jeannie. I mean, because the things that he talks about and some things he doesn't answer, it sounds like he is tripping, as Keith said.
well,
Absolutely.
that goes back to the possibility that Morella doesn't really exist, and his relationship with the drugs he's taken, and it's like the Tom Petty song, "Last Dance with Mary Jane," where he's not talking about a person.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's personified, anthropomorphied, or whatever, the psychotropic drugs he's taken and hallucinating perhaps this person, but
Mhm.
doesn't quite explain the daughter. But then Jeanie, the daughter, he doesn't name the daughter until years later. We don't know how many years later. And then as soon as he names the daughter Morella, then she goes away.
Mhm.
So it's yeah, but that is a really good thing that Morella. Yeah, I when I looked up, I noticed that too. Morella, a name coming from Nightshade and Belladonna and stuff like that. It's like, now what is the connection there? Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. Well,
wow.
it also would make sense talking about the daughter growing rapidly in size and body and and all of that, where it's like this makes no sense, especially in post time. This sounds like we're getting into science fiction, which he did write in, but it just was very odd to me. And then he even makes the comment, he says something like, if I can read my own handwriting, by my own hands, I put her in the tomb, talking about the daughter. And then he also mentions hemlock. And so then you wonder, okay, has he, if Morella exists, the daughter exists, did he poison both of them? At one point, right before she goes into labor and dies, he mentions that she has a crimson spot coming out on the cheek and the blue veins on the pale forehead. And I mean, it can be a flush tied with tuberculosis. It could just be rosacea or something like that. I looked all these things up. During Victorian times, that really heavy flushing they associated with, they called it St. Elmo's fire. And so again, it were those things he was going through as he was tripping.
Mhm.
Well, and remember, nightshade is also a cosmetic. So
True.
the hemlock could also be used as his way of killing the nightshade and
Mm-hmm.
trying to get rid of it. And
Yeah.
then the daughter being born is like replanting it in his own mind since he doesn't actually name the child until later. And then
Mm-hmm.
when he like Gregory said, once he names her, she disappears.
Yeah.
So it's like it's done, it's over, and he finally got it out of his system, got it out of his mind. The nightshade's truly gone, that kind of thing. So it could just be one of those things. So you never know. But the hemlock I think is really interesting that he's adding that in as like another plant type of thing. And
Yeah.
especially in these times, this is before penicillin, this is before everything. They were only using like laudanum and those opioid, opium and those kinds of things as hard painkillers. So they were trying to use all these other medicinal herbs and stuff, and it was kind of like a trial and error, like peyote.
Yeah.
Using peyote is to try to kill pain when you're having problems or things like that, and alcohol and all that kind of stuff. So it just, it seemed to me that this story was all about um, a fascination in his own mind of creation and trying to kill certain urges, I guess is a word I can
Yeah.
think of. So, I mean, that would just, I don't know if it's because of Carmen doing all her flower things that's got me stuck on
So,
flowers.
so when the first Morella dies,
Yeah,
with that the narrator has kicked the habit,
yes.
and Morella and her last dying words to him is that you will love me now. Um, so maybe getting off the drug that the narrator is taking, and where he's having these visions, hallucinating this woman, he is abstains from taking the drug, but then Morella's still growing in his garden.
Yeah.
Went into their home for a christening. he didn't take her to a church or anywhere, but wants the parson to come to their place. That seemed very odd. And it may again have this whole thing about where he's, this is what he's fantasizing. And so if the part of he sees Morella growing still, he hasn't weeded out his herb garden, uh, and uh, and then he says, then oh, Morella, and so that's his first time he said the name, and it's like he's relapsing, and and what if going to the charnel house and the tomb is him taking away the plants where he can't see them anymore, and saying Morella isn't there anymore. Well, if it was just a fever dream from the drugs genie, then there was no Morella. Wow,
Yeah.
that is left field,
I
but
mean,
Hiccup was so.
yeah, I mean, it could be any kind of interpretation. That's what we've always discussed. And especially one thing I love about Poe's stories is I can go really off the rails if I want to, because, you know, I use my wild imagination and I can find anything into anything. But when I like latch onto something, it's like, I like that. That connects, that kind of goes. But, like Gregory was talking about the christening, bringing someone into his home rather than taking out.
Yeah.
So that could be like another tie of, it's like when someone plants gardens, they plant the seeds in the gardens and they usually don't take what they've planted out. They always want to bring someone in to show them.
Yeah.
So that might be a tie in there too. So
Would readers at the time this was published recognize Morella instantly as being a word for those plants, you think?
I honestly think so, because
I
they
think
would
so.
probably recognize it more than people in today's society.
Mm-hmm. That I think so too, based on that fact.
Yeah, and I think that was a smart thing on Netflix Wednesday, because when they used that group of the Nightshades, but they call, people had to start, well, I don't know if kids did or whoever did it. I did it because, I'm nosy like that. I got to find out things. And I'm like, Nightshade, that's Belladonna. Why are they calling themselves Belladonna? And then when I found out that Morella was another name for Belladonna, and I'm like, that's how they tied that into Poe.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting things about how many, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let me try that again. It's amazing to me. It's like my mouth went faster than my brain. How much Poe is either doing this on purpose or how much is just put together that people are just interpreting. And I mean people by me. Yeah.
That's
And
that's the
other
great
people.
thing about him.
Yeah.
Each of his stories, every one of us interpreted it always different. And the second time you read it, you interpret it totally different. It's kind of like his little joke, not a little joke, but kind of his little gotcha to the world. Like, yeah, I'm still here. And maybe this is why he's so popular in pop culture still, and still talked about, and still shows up in books and movies and music and plays constantly. I mean, he's just there all the time and
Yeah.
everything.
Well, how many things did Poe write that he meant as a joke?
It's
He
true.
meant the facts in the case of M. Valdemar. He wrote purposely as a style in order to be like a prank, and he had people contacting him, psychics and hypnotists coming to him say, "Oh, please give me more information about this case you've heard of that you were a part of, because we want to find out more about this." They were taking it seriously. And what if Morella is just a parody of something else that he was out there in the world, and he named it Morella, thinking people would make the connection that this is just a drug addict's fantasies, his hallucinations.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, you're
it's
right,
certainly
Gregory.
possible. I guess I always start from the Occam's razor approach, which is maybe it's maybe it's just a much simpler explanation. I just go back to is this really just a case, as he presents it from the kind of get-go, of he's found himself in a loveless marriage, and she's resentful of that. She's been dabbling in the kind of black arts, and she punishes him in the sense that if you're not going to love me, then I'm going to essentially reappear as someone you do love, and then I will die, and then you'll regret losing me. Mm-hmm. So I'm just, I appreciate there's many layers to this, but to me, the simplest explanation is just exactly what he's saying, which is she essentially said this is what I'm going to do, and then she does it.
Sounds like a strong woman to me, and I like that.
I just Googled like an analysis of this work, and what it says here, which is really kind of fascinating, is it says Poe explores the idea of what happens to identity after death, suggesting that if identity survives death, it could exist outside the human body and return to new bodies.
Like reincarnation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really, really fascinating. And then also just on back to Holly's original point about vampirism and all that. Mm-hmm. In the early part of the story, it mentions that her education is from Pressburg. Right. And Pressburg is now what we call Bratislava, and it's the reputed home of black magic. Oh. So I think that kind of goes along with, and this is all being written by somebody who also suggests that her rebirth is as a vampire.
I like the story Carmel.
This guy named Alan Tate, who wrote this analysis. Mm-hmm. So it kind of ties all those ideas.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. Vampire fiction had been around just a little bit before that. The story written inspired by Lord Byron, that was 18
Polidori.
Polidori. That was
John Polidori.
John.
Like 18.
So vampires were already established, in fiction to a certain extent. So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which later, in the later part of that century, influenced Bram Stoker to write Dracula.
Yeah.
But that wasn't until 1897, so that was a long time coming. But anyway.
Yeah.
So that guy thought Lord Byron was sucking the life out of him, and so Morella's sucking the life out of our maybe unreliable narrator, and yeah.
There's
Poe is such a genius that I like to think that he never had a simplistic idea when he wrote a story or a poem, that he had many layers. Mm-hmm. So I think all these ideas we brought up today could very well be true.
It's kind of like pick the one you like the best.
Yeah, pick out the one you like the best that works for you,
And that's what I love about Poe.
A really great writer.
Yeah, because
exactly.
I mean, it can be
a really great writer.
And as Jeanie always says, every time, it depends on your mood. Like, what are you picking up on? Like Carmen, I'm writing a story right now about a witch, right? So I naturally go to the witch. Carmen, you're writing a story about the vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's being introduced, but she'll be another book later. But yes.
It's good.
Yeah. I did my little book of poetry group here. I did a short little thing about the cut up technique to them a little while ago, and was talking about with the focus on how vague and nonsensical writings and lyrics and stuff could have more of a universal meaning, because there is no finite meaning to the stuff that's produced with this, because it is so fragmented from a text. Mm-hmm. And so when you hear like weird David Bowie or John Lennon lyrics, or even some weird lyrics from modern music, and you can't tell what Pearl Jam is saying anyway, but it becomes a personal kind of connection. And like you said, Holly, Poe is very much like that, because there is this mystery in a lot of this stuff, And it's like, well, how you feel about Morella or anything is true to you, and somebody
Mhm.
can see it a different way.
Mhm.
And I think
Mhm.
Poe was definitely being vague and being weird, and Morella could have been a red herring, a genie to lead you down into left field, or it could be the crux of the story. And we're just, at least people are thinking about it and still talking about it and still trying to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, add it to your list of questions to ask Poe when he returns.
yes.
I think we
Um,
should all have that list going, you know,
so
because
also,
he'd probably say, what did it, my guess is he would probably say, what's it mean to you?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
He also
Mhm.
introduced his poem Catholic Hymn in this story.
Mhm.
And so is he trying to show the dark versus the light of religion? And I think that he probably was. It's like, is the narrator trying to, like if you're thinking about the theory of is he really on drugs and he's trying to stop, is the religion pulling him out of it, or is it just, just when you look at the words and everything, what was the purpose of it? I was just looking at the lines here, but because the last stanza is now when clouds of fate overcast all my present and my past, let my future radiant shine with sweet hopes of thee and thine, which makes you think, I mean, it's like, is it, I think it's talking about an afterlife rather than a reincarnation at this point based on the Catholic religion. So it's just an interesting
I
thing.
read somewhere that in a biography I read about Poe a while back,
Hmm.
that Poe, that in around 1830, there was a real anti-Catholic sentiment, probably in Europe and England as well as in the United States. But Poe was not anti-Catholic. He was not Catholic. He was raised Anglican, but he was not anti-Catholic because he had a lot of Catholic friends.
Yeah.
And so for him to put this Catholic almost prayer into this,
Hmm.
it went on to say that he did that because he was trying to play to the audience that was anti-Catholic. Why? Because he wanted to sell. It was
Yeah.
commercial. It wasn't that he hated the religion. He was neutral on religion.
Absolutely.
It
Hmm.
was about selling to the anti-Catholics out there who wanted to read that into what he was writing.
Yeah.
That's what I
And
read. Now, that's just, that was somebody's interpretation. There could be others, I'm sure.
well, and Poe did write what sold, so he was trying to make a living.
Mhm.
And,
Exactly.
because horror was not his love, poetry was his love,
Mhm.
but he wrote the horror because
He
that's what
did,
people
exactly.
wanted.
Mhm.
So that makes sense, Cheryl.
Mhm.
Well, and like we've
Yeah.
talked about before, he wrote words because he was paid by the word as well.
Mhm.
Hmm.
It's a way to make a living.
Yeah, put a prayer in there.
Yeah, there you
A
go.
multi-stanza prayer in there. Jack up the price.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
golly.
And of course, I mentioned Poe starting at the Southern Literary Messenger, 1835, when this was published. Many of you know, he was fired from that job because he was apparently drunk on the job. So him maybe heavily drinking at the time has something to do with content of the story, along with the connection
That's
between
that's
a
probably a
marriage,
very distinct possibility.
a
Yes.
marriage to Virginia, a 13-year-old cousin that maybe he didn't want. And anytime something went wrong in his life, hit the bottle, right? So, wow, it's a bunch of layers to this small little short story. I think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I feel like there's more layers to this story that we've kind of pulled out than many more of the stories we've read and talked about in the past.
I'd agree to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, Lygia
I
is more
also was not,
straightforward in this, you know.
Hmm.
yeah.
But don't you think some of
This
the stuff
story,
he's written is so broad? There's just so many different interpretations that a person can
Yeah,
come. I mean, look at all the things we've talked about tonight.
I know.
It's there's just, I mean, that's one of the things I like about him is you can have a group of people like this and talk to a different group of people
Mhm.
and has a different interpretation.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of did that on purpose. I think he wanted people to have a different interpretation.
Yeah.
I was an English major in college, and I can't tell you how many times I was in class and I could tell the professor was trying to get us to get to the correct meaning.
Right.
It's like, but no, there's not necessarily, like, unless the writer came back and visited us and told us what the meaning was, it's left up to us. We can only conjecture.
Absolutely.
And I think Poe is a great example of that. Like you were just saying, Gary, I think there's lots of different ways. Like his work is so layered.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I used to get kind of irritated with some professors because they'd say, well, that's not even possible. And I'm like, why not? Why isn't it possible?
If you've thought of it, it's possible.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Other thoughts. Is there anybody that didn't like this story? And again, it's okay if you didn't.
I liked it. I mean, I read it like 3 times, and I'm like, there's just so many different ways to me that you could interpret it, which I think makes me like it more.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know if there is any kind of film version of this story.
I didn't find anything on YouTube, but is there a movie about it?
There is, but it's soft porn.
Oh, is that that 10? Oh, wait, is that 10 little? Because like when I was on YouTube today, there was this 10 little it was like just a 10-minute movie, and it looked really cool. And it had a whole bunch of views. I just didn't get a chance to watch it, so I was like, oh, only 10 minutes.
This is a full-length movie, which again, it's just a thinly veiled opportunity to have a bunch of nudity.
Oh, okay.
I watched it just to be able to be a good participant this evening, though.
That's her research, right? Well, no, there is a film version of Morella. There is a film version of Morella. Technically, it's part of the Tales of Terror.
Yeah.
Where
that's right.
Black Cat and Valdemar. But this Morella, like a lot of these things that are adapted from Poe, it's not very faithful. It's got a lot of Lygia in it, but it is an interesting take on the tale. Tales of Terror, I think, is available.
It's on YouTube. I got it saved.
Yeah, because I watched that recently. Yeah.
It's also on our list to review.
Also, Vincent Price audiobook recording. When he and Basil Rathbone did recordings way back when of Poe is an excellent reading of Morella.
I have it on CD. I've listened to it before.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Other thoughts.
I wasn't able to predict the end when I started this story. The first time way back when I read it.
Yeah.
There have been a few Poe stories that I thought, okay, I know what's going to happen. Because of Poe's style, the way he likes to try to trick the reader.
Oh yeah.
But this one, I didn't anticipate what was coming in this story.
That twist makes everything that came before it. It makes you question what you just read.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this also be.
Yeah, Jeanie, go ahead.
Excuse me.
No, I was going to say could also be Poe's opportunity to bastardize Romeo and Juliet.
That's a good point.
Because think about it. He did not like Shakespeare. Did not. And
of course, he's reversed roles
think
here.
About it. What, Keith? Go ahead.
Well, he's reversed roles here, where Juliet's first to go instead of Romeo, like in the Shakespearean play. I think Romeo at first she kissed his lip and went until dead on the floor.
Yeah, and I mean this.
I didn't realize he didn't like Shakespeare, because I kind of enjoyed Shakespeare in school.
I did too, but yeah, Poe had an aversion to Shakespeare, I think.
Yeah, and there's a poem he wrote where he's, I think, making fun of Shakespeare. I can't remember which one it is. I'd have to look it up. I was doing some research on something the other day and that popped up. But yeah, Jeannie, we've reviewed Tales of Terror 1962 back in December of 2025.
Yeah, I thought we had. Either we were going to or we had. I couldn't remember.
Well, it kind of made me think because I knew it was a Corman, and so then I was like, did we skip it? Because you just said we need to review it, and then I was
Oh, wait a
like,
minute. I remember it now because I don't think I liked it very much.
Did we do the Palace of Terror?
The what?
The Palace of Terror, or what that one? It's just
Haunted Palace?
Terror, but it's actually more of a H.P. Lovecraft story.
Oh yeah, the Haunted Palace.
The haunted. Thank you. The haunted palace. I knew it had palace in it.
Yeah, the case of Charles Dexter Ward.
Yeah, that's it.
Actually, is what
because when I was watching it, because it's an Edgar Allan Poe, I'm like, how come I haven't heard of this? And I'm watching, I'm going, that's H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah. And Haunted Palace, I mean, it's pretty much what we call Pinot, Poe in name only.
Yeah, okay.
But they do some parts of the Haunted Palace, I think at the beginning and maybe the end from his poem. And the Haunted Palace is actually a poem in Fall of the House of Usher because it's very much telling the same story as Madeline and Roderick in a way. So
yeah, I don't know why I knew that, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was just surprised me. That was all. I mean.
Oh yeah.
Something I missed.
Steve shared The Haunting of Morella in 1990.
That's fairly new.
So is that the one with
the nudity, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really that much of Poe's story. It's just it's Pinot.
Okay. Okay. Any other thoughts? I guess not.
No. I've gone down my rabbit holes.
I think we went down a lot of rabbit holes tonight. Well, upcoming in the next couple months, we have Mrs. Poe by Lynn Cullen for August. If you haven't read that and you can find it on Amazon. I just finished it and passed it to Jeanie, and I will be very anxious to hear about your thoughts on that book. I have lots of thoughts on that book. And then in September, we're going to read The Tale of the Ragged Mountains. And from September moving forward, we don't have anything chosen because we were going to wait and hear from you guys. Keith has put together a really nice list of books that, hold on, I have it on my phone. We're always in the mood to read a book. If you would rather do something that is Poe inspired rather than Poe written, we're totally up for that. And I guess it all depends on you guys for October. Any
We need something really spooky.
Oh yeah. A couple on that list are kind of. There's one about body horror. There's one about a continuation of the Fall of House of Usher in modern times. I can't remember what I sent you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I actually have it right here, Keith. Good. I copied everything into one page.
Good.
There's Usher Passing by Robert McCammon. While Poe's original story ends with the house sinking into the tarn, McCammon asks, what if the Usher family didn't actually die out that night? What if their legacy of darkness survived and grew into a modern empire? What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. And that's also a retelling of the Fall of the House of Usher. I've read that one. I Am
You're
Mr.
saying these
Poe.
are both books?
Yeah, these are all books.
Okay.
And I can share this out with y'all. I Am Mr. Poe by L. Powers. The ghost of Edgar Allan Poe reaches out from the afterlife to set the record straight himself. Room of Shadows by Ronald Kidd, though written as a
That's more
middle
of a kid's
grade.
book. Yeah.
Okay. And then you added another one, Echoes of the Macabre, Inspired Stories of Edgar Allan Poe. And I think that was it.
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of leaning toward the body horror one and the Usher the first one, Usher
Passing.
Yeah, passing, because I ordered it through thrift books because it just I think thrift books is the greatest thing in the face of the world because I can buy in library books, every book I can get my hands on because I just put a title in and now everything, every genre that I'm interested in just piles into my inbox and they're always on sale and I earn points. I get free books constantly. And my to read list bookcase has grown to 3 bookcases, but I'll get around to it. I'm reading. I got books in every room of the apartment. I'm reading every time I sit down and I'm not working. So
there you go. There you go. So any thoughts for October?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah, I mean,
it would be fun, Carmen. You should get like a little Poe cup or something. Put every single thing he's ever written, every single Poe book, every inspired book, into a little thing and do a drawing each week or whatever.
That would be fun.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Yeah.
Actually, I tell you what, we could even do one up with technology. There are randomizers, and
I've seen those.
Yeah, so I tell you what, so next month we'll do a randomizer and pick something for October. How does that sound?
I like that. I like that.
Because we've still got some time. I just like to throw those ideas out there just because we always like to stay a couple months ahead of time. So
especially if we're doing books.
Yes.
I'm curious going into November. I'm curious, what would we still have it the last Tuesday because that's 2 days before Thanksgiving. What did we do last year? We have it the week before? Or
I thought we did the week before.
I think we did. Okay. So August is August 25th. September's is the 29th. October is going to be October 27th, which is actually National Black Cat Day. November, the 24th would be 2 days before Thanksgiving, so we would do that on the 17th.
Okay.
Yeah. So Cheryl, thanks for bringing that up. And then December, I think the 29th would be okay because even though that's a few days before New Year's, a few days before Christmas would not be good. So
right.
Yeah, so December 29th.
Before November, maybe we do some Words of the Mummy because it's such a turkey.
Steve. Steve. Don't make me beat you with a drumstick. That's all I gotta say.
I like that.
If I could send you a turkey through the mail, I would. I'm just saying.
Well, we may have to tar and feather you.
Yep.
I'm shaking my head, Steve. I'm shaking my head.
I can mummify a turkey for you. That's what I can do.
Oh, yeah. But
selling stories, people. They had Mummy Mania back then, so he's selling a story. I read that for Doomsday. Remember, Carmen?
Yes, you did.
I had a lot of fun reading it. But it's like, this is
Jeanie has her. I don't even know what. Yeah, I was gonna not try for a word on
that. I don't know what else you'd call it. Just ugh. Yeah, I'm sorry, Gregory. I have to admit I didn't hear that one.
Well, it is a straight up comedy because if you don't understand, if there's any doubt about what Poe was up to in that story, in the first opening part of it, the mummy kicks a guy out a window and the guy comes running back up the stairs unhurt. So at that point, you know that this is not a serious story. It's a satire.
Absolutely.
So you have to ride with it and laugh along.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't help me because even reading it, I still hated it. I broke out in hives.
That bad.
I mean, I do have satire, but I don't know. I don't know if I was a mummy in a past life or something. I don't know what happened. You never know.
Steve, what were you going to say?
I do have two quick Poe-related items for August.
Okay.
One is this Sunday, Poe Baltimore is doing a live live stream on Facebook about Poe, the Poe Fest, and they will also be announcing the SVA nominees. And Chad the Bird apparently is going to be making these announcements. So
yes,
it's an interesting decision this year, but I thought I'd just mention that if you didn't already get the email. That's this Sunday, August 2nd at 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah.
And then for those of you in the West, near the end of August, there is a live Poe musical in Los Angeles that imagines that Poe holds a dinner party, a murder mystery dinner party for a bunch of authors, including like H.G. Wells and Ernest Hemingway and Agatha Christie and a whole bunch of others. It was done as a series of webcasts but 10 years ago, and now they've made it into a musical. And Mike and I are both going to be going to that on August 22nd.
Nice.
So if anyone's interested in flying out to Los Angeles August 22nd, the Poe musical is playing at the Gary Marshall Theater.
Okay.
Wish.
Yeah. If I could teleport, I'd get there.
Stargate, yes. Yeah.
We'll give a full report in at the next Poe Unplugged about it.
Yeah, oh, definitely so.
Video that so we can all watch.
I wrote that down.
What'd you say, Gary? You cut out.
Jeanie, you should video that so we can watch it.
Exactly.
Yeah, do a little bootleg.
No.
So I have one last thing. Keith.
Yes.
Obviously, the group did not get our memo about wearing stripes tonight.
No, I didn't.
I know, I noticed that, and I was like, I need to take a clue about that.
Wearing the official merch.
No. Well, okay, then
I thought that was one of our shirts.
No, because I decided this morning this is stripe day.
I did too.
Yeah, because I was gonna wear one of my t-shirts. I'm like, no, I'll save that for a special event, maybe like a rating or something really big going on.
Yeah.
And then and I'm like, I'm gonna wear stripes today. I don't know who I'm impressing. I just walk out in front of the dogs and like, Daddy's going to work, and I walk back into my office and log on.
I don't think I own anything with stripes.
I have black and white stripes.
That's good.
I have something striped. Yeah, I know I do.
I don't.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Cheryl and Keith, the stripe coloring is very similar.
Very similar, yes. They're twinsing it. Yeah.
I like those colors together.
Lots of colors.
I don't
Lots
know
of
if
rainbow.
I have anything striped.
That's an interesting thing to think about.
I just, when I see it, I like it, I buy it.
Just an observation.
It was at a secondhand store, a consignment shop. Sister dragged me in. She was in town. Oh, let me share good news. My niece, Amy's oldest, my twin, graduated from Tennessee. I don't know what the name of it is. It's not the orange and blue one, but
Tennessee State University.
She graduated from the architectural school.
Okay.
One of the six with honors.
Yay.
She had an interview in Washington, D.C. and got her first job. She's going to be living outside the city, but taking the train in.
That's nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, she's going to leave her car in Signal Mountain.
Very nice.
To see where Amy lives. And her brother Sullivan's at the same college that he got a lacrosse scholarship on. So he's got 3 more years because she's 3 years older than him.
Okay.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, I got a little postcard from her, and then I got a little note on my computer from her, and of course, I had to give her the uncle speech, like keep your roots grounded and da 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 and da da. And she started laughing and she's like, "You remember that from Grandpa, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, I just had to save it for you."
Oh.
Got to pass on the roots.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it grounded.
All right. Well, I think we have talked about all the things and the future things.
Yep.
And so I guess
on that note, we are
Poe out. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
See you
Have a
next
good month.
month.
See you next month.
I'm waving, but you can't see it. Bye bye.
Good luck, Steve, on Saturday,
Thank
Sunday.
you. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.